When you or your partner have extensive childhood trauma and your communication style is argumentative rather than gentle with a practice of being open and curious about each other, it's usually just a matter of time before mutual triggering that happens during fights leads to a standoff. One or both of you may feel injured beyond repair and have difficulty using your words to describe why you're so upset. On top of that, if you do find the words, your partner might be triggered and overreact to your attempt to explain what's wrong. Sometimes this leads to one of you wanting to leave, asking not to be touched, or even giving an ultimatum, asking for the end of the relationship. Today, I want to talk to the couple that feels as if they're on the brink of divorce or separation and give you a few suggestions. I've worked with couples like you, and I cannot emphasize strongly enough that when either of you is in a triggered state, it's really not a good time to try to figure things out. Instead, find or agree on an appointed time when you can sit together and really hear each other with a focus on staying calm. Then, when the time to talk comes, breathe. Anticipate that going into this conversation, one or both of you might get triggered again. Allow for breathing breaks. It helps to mention when the upset is just beginning so that you can re-regulate together rather than allowing it to get so big that you explode. Commit ahead of time to getting through this with whatever words work best for you. Then let the most upset or triggered person start. The other person should listen for feelings that are underneath the words. If anger or hurt comes out, listen for your partner's experience rather than agreeing or disagreeing with what your partner's trying to say. Remember, you're asking for their experience, and it's a gift that they're sharing with you. Then, after they've shared, ask them, what was the worst part of what upset them? If you're remaining open and curious, this might be the opportunity that your partner has to tell you how your behavior reminded them of a previous hurt from their abuse history and how that hurt has become overwhelming to them. This is the time to remember that the trauma brain, once activated, cannot tell the difference between what happened to your partner while they were being hurt in childhood and what's happening between the two of you right now. So rather than arguing, look for what your partner told you that makes sense to you. Then once you can see the similarities between your behaviors that triggered your partner into the trauma response and their history, you can talk about how to interact around the problem that brought up the trigger so you can successfully support your partner's healing process within the safety of your relationship. It's really important to remember that there's no room for blaming here. Mutual triggering is normal in relationship. It happens to everyone. But if you or your partner's complex PTSD symptoms are severe, getting through this is going to take more work. You need to work together to create an environment that feels different than the one where your partner's trauma happened. And that has a lot to do with how you respond to them when they're upset, hurt, or triggered, even if they use words that hurt. Today's video has homework for both of you. I'm Tamara Ridge, the therapist that's been there, helping you heal childhood trauma within the context of safe relationship.